this is clearly not a tomb. These are alternate history researchers. Yep. They'll look in and say, this is clearly not a tomb. The interior of the Great Pyramid has no hieroglyphs, nothing decorative that would show us this is a funerary monument. Look at this. And all of the outer buildings they all have one thing in common with each other, is that they all reference either one of the 3 great pharaohs that we attribute to the Giza Plateau. So you look around the Giza Plateau and you go, okay, there's all these people buried here. Where are the 3 pharaohs buried that are referenced in all of these tombs? It's probably this gigantic building that they're all pointed at, right? That took a lot of self-research and me opening up these old textbooks these old research books that are based on Flinders Petries and Covington, these early archaeologists who excavated a lot of these mastabas. It took me doing that to find this context, to have the realization of, oh, okay, I get it now. This is the context for this. I can say all that in one hand. In the other hand, I did walk inside of Khufu's pyramid and Menkaura's pyramid. The Khafre's pyramid in the center is closed off. I guess they're doing something in it. But I walked all through those pyramids, and why don't I see the hieroglyphs telling me who this person was? You mean the most powerful person on the entire planet?
Didn't have anything written about him.
Didn't have anything written about him, and his name isn't inscribed anywhere?
Sketchy.
What is that? Why is that such a blind spot in Egypt? And it leaves just as big of a question is, if this isn't his tomb, if this isn't Khafre or Menkaura's tomb, where the hell are these guys? And why is everyone who worked underneath them buried here? Where are they? It creates another big question. If these aren't tombs, and I'm at a gridlock here. Honestly, I'm at a gridlock. I don't know what the answer is to how to explain these things. They're made with technology and techniques that we can't understand, that we haven't re-engineered, that we can't explain. And they're attributed to we're pretty sure who built these monuments. Everything is pointing at who built it, but why on the inside is the guy not in there? Why is Khufu's sarcophagus in the Great Pyramid? We should pull that up.
Khufu's sarcophagus?
Yeah, or Great Pyramid sarcophagus. I was in the Cairo Museum and I saw 4th Dynasty, which he's the fourth dynasty. I saw 4th Dynasty sarcophagi that are much nicer. So yeah, here's it.
What's that made out of?
This is red Aswan granite.
Okay.
So go one to the right if you would. So that's about what it looks like. It's not very nice. I mean, I hear people say, I hear people like really dog on it, but you also have to think like this is probably the most violated and touched sarcophagus in all of human history. However, it really doesn't explain why there are intrinsic qualities about it that make it less impressive than less important people who lived at the same time as Khufu. I've seen other 4th Dynasty sarcophagi. They're a lot more impressive than this. Why is this? The Great Pyramid was the biggest building on the face of the planet until the Eiffel Tower was constructed. It's such an important thing, and we attribute it to somebody who's obviously must have been so important to be able to build it. But he's not inscribed on the inside of it. How do I make sense of that? If it really is not a tomb and it's something else, well, what is that thing? Well, of course, that's been speculation forever, and there's never been a concrete, some great idea that's been come up for it yet, that we've been able to prove. If it's not Khufu's tomb, why is his entire government and all of his relatives and his wives buried right next to it? And where's he? Where is he at? A simple and boring explanation I can come up with is that he did something that pharaohs seem to do later on. I should also say there are some archaeologists who they're wrong. They're very wrong. These are people who are anti Hancock. They will come back and go, no. The interior of tombs were not decorated. Because what people will do is they'll go, okay, look at the inside of the Great Pyramid. this is clearly not a tomb. These are alternate history researchers.
Yep.
They'll look and say, this is clearly not a tomb. The interior of the Great Pyramid has no hieroglyphs, nothing decorative that would show us this is a funerary monument. Look at this. This is a funerary monument. This is what the Egyptians were capable of. And it'll be the Valley of the Kings, which are these rock-cut tombs. Like I was telling you that workers' village in the first episode. That is 1,000 years later after this. The style of tombs are completely different at this point. But archaeologists who probably don't have enough education in Egyptology to be combating this will then return and say, the Great Pyramid was built at a time where there were no hieroglyphs and funerary monuments, and that's why you don't see it in there. That was a trend that was started later on. Well, you shouldn't be teaching anybody, let alone combating or putting people down for asking questions about Egypt, if you don't realize that all the freaking mastabas around the Great Pyramid all have hieroglyphs in them. And Zoser's pyramid, that first step pyramid, those shafts and chambers down below it are all decorated with these turquoise scarabs that make it look like it was, we think it was trying to be symbolic of the palace that Zoser would have had in Memphis. So it's all decorated underneath. It is clearly set up from the traditional Egyptological view that the inside of pyramids are going to be decorated, and you can see hieroglyphs of Zoser in the afterlife, in the iconic pharaonic pose, performing divine ceremonies and visiting these places in the afterlife, and doing the things he wanted to do. Yeah. That's set up. But we don't see it in the Pyramid of Doom, as far as we know. I've never been inside, and it's hard to get into the Pyramid of Doom. It's hard to get permission.
Why is it hard to get permission?
There's just some things in Egypt that are there's two barriers of entry to almost everything in Egypt. And this is also why I kind of think it's funny, when people say like, it's a big cover up. Everything's a big cover up.
Fucking Zahi.
You can buy your way into anything in Egypt if you have enough money. There's really nothing that's locked off. Like, there are no passages in any of the Great Pyramids that people aren't allowed inside of. You can explore every single corner of the Great Pyramid
if you have enough money.
If you have enough money, but see, that's not expensive. That costs like $100 to do that.
Oh.
What I mean is that there are pyramids way off in the desert that Egypt hasn't built the infrastructure to allow tourists to go see. So if you want to go see it, you really want to get. They know you really want to go see it if you're asking, so you're going to pay a lot to do that. That's how it works, And in some places, they are actually scared that if you bump in like to a board or something that that's holding up this rock, that you will actually die.
Oh,
and so it is locked off. Some places money can't get you into it, but it's probably more for your safety and for liability. It's not at all like Mexico. Like in Mexico, there are these sacred, secret places all over these ancient sites all over Mexico. No money, power, or prestige could get any man entry into. There are places that are that locked off.
Whoa.
Yeah. So we'll get to that someday.
Yeah, I guess some other episode.
Yeah. So
shit.
But Egypt, if you have enough money and connections, you can get into anything. So that's why I kind of laugh when and they act like it's a cover up. It's like, you can literally go see it all for yourself. They're not hiding.
It's good for clicks.
It's good for clicks. They're not hiding anything from you. You can go buy your way into looking at all of it, videotape all of it, do what you want. Oh gosh, where was I at? We were on the Great Pyramid.
Yeah, you were talking about the Great Pyramid and how this is the one that doesn't have anything written inside
sure,
there.
Sure, yeah.
His family was buried there, but he wasn't.
Sure,
and the other buildings all had people buried there.
Yeah, so that's the big mystery, and this is me being intellectually honest here and laying out the chronology that makes sense, and then hard stopping at something that doesn't make sense.
Meaning you gotta, whatever theorizing you do ends there, because there's not enough evidence for you to gather to be able to say it is this or that.
Yeah. I don't know, and I think that's the thing that's insane about it is how can we be at this place where you have this thing that seems like it's very obvious. You look at the peripheral of the Great Pyramid. It's all pointing towards it. It all makes sense because we don't have this body. Oh, you know what? I was telling you, I think Khufu did something that other pharaohs seem to do, because it goes against. Well, and then I got onto, there are archaeologists who say that, hieroglyphs didn't exist in funerary monuments during the time of Khufu. So, there's that whole thing. Khufu may have done something that some pharaohs seem to do later on. You remember, I think it was in the first episode where I say that sometimes pharaohs had two burials. You had a burial in the south and you had a burial in the north.
Right.
The north was where the government of Egypt was run. You had the government of Egypt was run out of Memphis. That's why it's the capital of Egypt. And that's typically where the pharaoh lived. The religious heart of Egypt was in a city called Abydos, which was near modern-day Luxor, or in modern-day Luxor. And Abydos, that's where the high priest of Amun-Ra, that is the god of ancient Egypt. All the other gods are pretty much lesser gods.
He's a great player on the Detroit Lions too.
Oh yeah. Amun-Ra.
He's the truth.
So he's he is the god in ancient Egypt for the vast majority of Egypt's history. He's only toppled a couple times.
Thank you for watching the video, guys. If you haven't already subscribed, please smash that subscribe button and check out this clip's full podcast episode by clicking here or in the description below.